Welcome into the Meltdown. Deadpool and Wolverine is officially out, and we have all seen the latest MCU entry. While we won't be getting into any spoilers here on the stream, we will be giving you our thoughts and opinions on the biggest movie of 2024. Is it worth all the hype? And how much does it help or hurt the future of Marvel? We will discuss. Speaking of Wolverine, Luntz's list will focus in on Hugh Jackman's contributions to the character, as his best appearances will be featured in today's rankings. And yes, Deadpool and Wolverine is eligible to make the list. And it's another fun Friday edition of Hot or Cold, which will have our panel reacting to a number of different trending topics heading into the weekend. It's all happening right here on the Meltdown, as we are presented by MyBookie, broadcasting live from the Culver studio.
Two big boys in a tiny studio, teaching you and me about everything they know that makes sound a meltdown. It's the meltdown, time for the meltdown, coming for the meltdown. Let's start the show.
Welcome in once again to the Meltdown. I am your host, Tim Melton. That is my co-host, Mr. John Lunsford. And John, it is a Wolverine heavy show today for sure, for a lot of different reasons. The most important review that we need from you to start things off, and I didn't want to hesitate, was the review of the Wolverine popcorn bucket. Is it something that you approve of? You can grab it off the shelf if you'd like and bring it into frame, because it needs a thorough review here to start things off.
Just
the
choose your
world is
words
a
carefully
buzz.
after it needs a thorough blank.
It needs a thorough cleaning. I saw a lot of people carrying these things around at the theater.
So many.
Did you guys have a lot of
Okay,
popcorn
our
buckets
theater
being held?
experience was like wonderful, and I feel like this is like where we were. This is like where the hardcore fans were. There were people that were buying like two of everything. Like there were people that had like bagfuls.
I told
of
Tyler
stuff.
there was a guy in front of us that literally bought every single thing they had to offer. He basically walked up and said, "Whatever souvenirs you have, I want them." And they had to go in the back to find some of the stuff because he wanted every single thing possible. And he had a giant bag and then walked out with it afterwards. And I was like, that's us sending poor Tyler to get the popcorn bucket.
Laurel, do you like estate sales and garage sales and all that kind of stuff?
Because John calls me like grandma's house because like I love going to things like that.
You know, eventually we're going to get these yard sales that have tons of like movie merch from AMC. That's one thing AMC...
I don't think you'd want a 50-year-old Dune popcorn bucket.
This is a... Yeah.
See, Tyler, what you don't know is one day we are going to bury that bucket and someone is going to find it. And
It's going to be our time capsule.
It's going to be our Jumanji board game. That's what it's going to be. But it's not a game you're going to want to play for sure.
Tyler
Jumanji
pops out of it and is like, so here is it.
Finally. But that's one thing that theaters they've understood. They're getting right. It's an extra revenue stream for them.
Yeah.
And I
That
know
bucket's so gross.
that they've acted like the Dune popcorn bucket was the worst thing in the history of marketing that happened to them. Oh my gosh, we messed up with the Dune popcorn bucket. Oh my gosh. No, they know they've got a hit on their hands with all these different popcorn
I
buckets.
didn't realize that his tongue is out.
Yeah.
There's texture on the tongue.
Texture on the tongue. Like this is all just plastic, but then the tongue, you can feel it's like different.
John, are they going to keep making popcorn buckets with innuendo? Because I don't think anybody wants to go back to the regular popcorn buckets, do they?
I mean, you have to. Now the Dune one was not trying to be that. Obviously, it's trying to be the sandworm. It just happened to come. It just happened to come off.
I'm with Laurel.
It just happened to come off a certain way, and then the lore carried it forever. So then, of course, the dirtiest movie out there being Deadpool. When the new Deadpool came out, saying, "Hey, we're going to double down on it," and then I'm just trying to think what the next dirty movie that could pull this off on purpose, and then I'm trying to think what's the next movie that could do something like Dune that we could potentially misconstrue. Yes, to answer your question, yes. I'm just trying to figure out what is that next.
Maybe like Gladiator, entering a sword into something.
See, Gladiator's not. I mean, I don't.
She acted it out. You realize the view count for this is going to go way up. No, I'm just kidding.
What about, isn't there a new Sausage Party coming out?
There's a TV show that came out a couple
it.
weeks ago. I haven't watched it yet.
I don't think anybody's really watched it, to be honest. I've heard
keep
no
meaning
buzz
to.
about that. Okay, so the review of the popcorn bucket, do you give it, what grade would you give it? How would you compare it if you had to pick one or the other?
Well, there's one, for practical purposes, there's one thing they fixed with this that they couldn't really do with that. And that is the rubber right here. I know this is very odd. But I'm going to tell you, I take it off so you can actually see it. So, like, where you actually stick your hand in right here is much better for actually grabbing popcorn out as opposed to that, which is like a million little bristles around it. And I get you're trying to make it look like the worm. That's the teeth of the worm in the movie. But, like, this is a lot easier to stick your hand through and pull popcorn out of, I feel like.
And also,
Still
I feel
feels
like no one's
crazy
really doing. I feel
impractical.
like you just stick it on when you're done with it, though, right?
Well, I mean, yes, it's
You
much
have
easier
to,
just to
right?
eat it like this
Yeah.
as opposed to actually sticking your hand in the thing.
I mean, this is a big thing in theme parks now too. Like they just unveiled a Chucky one that you can. I think it's through his mouth that will be at Horror Nights this year.
My only thing is this is very plain. Like, it says designed by Deadpool. Clearly, they're talking about this part.
Yeah.
But, like, I would have liked this to at least have been, like...
Is there anything on the other side?
Yeah, it's like a.
That's just the logo. But,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but, like, it says designed by Deadpool can also be used for popcorn, which is funny, but, like, I feel like there's just a lot of blank space they could have...
I feel like you
They
could
could've
have
done
put
something
Deadpool's backside right there, and
Yeah,
it would
like,
have been
you
a good.
could have done some kind of graphic on it.
Show that one more time with the face and show everybody what it is that everybody's clamoring over. And good luck. I know there's a lot of people that are looking for these buckets this weekend, and we hope you're able to secure yours if you are in the market for that. The place I like to open my mouth the widest is at Alabama Dental Associates. That's where you'll meet my friends Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian over on Grants Mill Road. They have very flexible office hours, so that way you can visit the professional dental team that they put together on a more convenient schedule for you. If you need to find the best dentists in town, I've found the solution, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you. They not only have all the latest advancements in dental healthcare technology, but they also have the absolute friendliest staff in town. That is Alabama Dental Associates, where they're going to work with you. They also have Saturday hours, so maybe you're like, you know what, I do need to get back into a dental routine, but how early can I get in there? You can get in there as early as today. They've got Friday hours, or you can make an appointment for tomorrow if they have availability there. But they are accepting new patients now and can help you feel at ease about all of your dental procedures. Call them 205-956-8977 or visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. Producer Tyler back here with us. We have our retro trailer reaction up from one of your all-time favorite movies.
Yes, I picked Old Boy from 2003. This is not the Josh Brolin version directed by Spike Lee. This is the original Park Chan-wook version.
Good for you,
And
sir.
It is one
other,
of my favorites.
That other version of the movie doesn't need to exist.
No, it does not. It only cheapens the legacy.
It does for sure. And we have a little bit of a conundrum with our latest pick out of the popcorn bucket, the Dune popcorn bucket.
Yep.
The Dune popcorn bucket's going to think we're cheating on it with the Wolverine popcorn bucket, and we are not.
Especially the way I've been sticking my hand in it right now.
Correct. But we pulled a movie that I've never heard of out of the Dune popcorn bucket. It
Me
was
neither.
called
Instinct from 1999,
No.
starring Anthony Hopkins and
Yes.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
I remember this movie.
Laurel's heard of it, I
yeah.
guess.
Okay.
It is not available on any streaming service
I have not
or
thought
for
of that movie
purchase.
in years.
It's got, I mean,
Never
to
heard
have a
of it.
good
It was
cast
Rocky's
in it, I
pick.
mean, Anthony Hopkins, Cuba Gooding Jr., Donald Sutherland, Maura Tierney, who we just saw in Twisters. I mean,
I was telling John we could get a DVD of this delivered to the office. It would be here by mid-August. But I don't even know. Do we have the capability of playing a DVD?
I assume the PlayStation will.
It does. I've
does
I
play a
have
DVD?
tested this. Yes.
Yeah, just
I know it
stream
plays 4K
at the house.
and
Yeah, it'll
Blu-ray,
do
but
Blu-ray
it'll
and
do
regular.
DVD? Okay. Because did the PS4 play DVDs? Because I don't think it
I
did.
assume.
I
don't
would
know.
assume so.
I've
I didn't
always
have
assumed-
a PS4. I had a PS3.
I've always assumed since we switched to the disc that they could play DVDs, but I honestly don't know.
I'm nervous about that. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do. We're gonna sleep on it this weekend and try to make a decision by Monday of whether or not we should pull another one out of the bucket, or if we're gonna come up with like some strategy to get our hands on a copy of this. But I don't know what else we can do other than go back to the bucket.
It could just be a wild card for Rocky. He just picks a random movie.
A replacement movie?
Yeah, replacement.
Maybe, what if he picks the
Replacements.
replacements? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I walked right into that one.
I may have that movie.
Oh God.
I
well,
really
check
might.
this weekend.
Okay, I'll check.
On VHS or DVD?
I think I have it on DVD.
Okay.
I have to go to my parents' house and look. I think I have it.
She has a stack of the most random
Scavenger hunt
movies and CDs.
Well, if you have it, we need to pass it around this weekend. I
Okay.
call Tuesday night. That's when
Okay.
I need it.
I'll check
So,
this weekend. I'll check tomorrow.
and then
We're passing around the Doom popcorn bucket or the movie?
the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Laurel Lunsford. It's a fun Friday when Laurel's in town. How are you doing?
I'm good, Tim. Thank you for asking.
We need to have a chat.
Okay.
And I think it's a positive chat because I'm genuinely curious.
Okay.
Long Legs. You went to go see Long Legs.
I did.
I walked out really liking this movie. Tyler walked out really not liking this movie. He thought pretentiousness. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I mean, there was some of that, but
So I would love it.
mostly
Dialogue or
the
substance?
dialogue was super edgy and
seen it.
just real cringe.
I thought it was really artistic. I loved the mood of it. I loved the atmosphere of it.
So I would have loved it.
I know John
Pretentious
could
and
have
artistic.
easily seen this movie. I don't know why you didn't go with me.
John, I think, could handle this movie.
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I don't know what John can't handle anymore.
No, this is like not even Game of Thrones level in my
So,
opinion.
Laurel, where did you fall on this? Because I've heard you were disappointed, and I'd like to know
Okay.
sort of why.
I wasn't disappointed. I gave it like a 3.5 out of like 5. I really liked the first part.
Okay.
I really liked the first part.
What?
I'm just going to pull up the text she sent me.
I
the
did
minute,
say
the minute the
pass.
movie ended. She just said, pass.
I did not like.
But that is a fresh in the Rotten Tomatoes world we live in, right? 3.5?
But I read.
I so typically think
and what
pass
was
is
the
lower
next
than
part I
3.5.
read? What was the next part?
I don't know. Hold on, I got to pull it up.
So basically a 7 out of 10?
I would even 7.5 out of 10. I really liked the first part. I wish it had kind of kept that going. I thought the theater experience was really good. I have learned.
Did you have a good crowd?
Well, the crowd was good. I went by myself, which I have learned now. If I want to see something, like I'll have to see it in theaters because I just have more attention span that way. But I also don't like going to see these horror movies by myself because I do feel like I look weird. I know that I wouldn't feel weird like going to see anything else, but I like need people to talk to and like to discuss it with.
Saturday, 2:27 p.m.
Thanks, Laurel.
Pass.
No, you're a boy, Tyler.
Me, not good. Laurel, I mean, I'm not sure I even understand it. It's
That
like,
is true.
It's like that movie The Boy mixed with Silence of the Lambs and The Omen.
Yes.
Me, that does not sound good. Laurel, it's okay. I don't ever care to see it again.
That is true.
You could have seen it. It wasn't even gory. And I said, sounds like I didn't miss much.
That's not a
And
bad
then we
review,
moved
I
on.
feel like.
I do like there's a lot of times where Laurel's like, John could have seen this. It was awful. You know, and then it's like, does that correlate?
I didn't. I would have liked to have someone there to kind of help with what I was thinking. I don't know. Can I say a spoiler on here? Or I don't know if it's a spoiler.
You know, we have run into this territory
Okay.
before.
No, you
That's
cannot.
a heck of a
I was
question.
going to ask.
No.
Do y'all
I prefer
think,
you not while it's in its theatrical run.
Okay. Well, this is just an idea. I mean,
Nicolas Cage is indeed in the
Can
movie.
you talk around it at all? Where we would know and, you know.
okay. Anyway, I won't get into it. I'll ask you off this. But anyways, I did not. I thought Nicolas Cage was really good. I did not think he was scary. Like
He was
I
not.
did not.
I've seen the pictures of him. He does not look scary.
It wasn't scary
For them to
me.
have hidden him the whole time and then to now see the pictures because obviously
I
it's
think
not
that
spoiler
was
anymore.
what was disappointing to me is I thought, there's several scenes in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler, where you see like someone with like a black, like, I guess it's a sheet or something over them. I thought he was going to be under that and like you were going to see like he's going to have like flaming red eyes and like look like the demon and like Insidious or something. And
Darth Maul.
Have you been surprised at how well it's performed?
no, because everyone was like talking. The marketing is
It had good marketing.
The marketing is genius. The marketing was great. The first part was definitely like Silence of the Lambs, which I really, really liked. I am one of those people, and this might ruffle some feathers. I am not one of those people that is really scared by demonic or paranormal or like satanic things. Like that to me is not scary. I know a lot of people. In fact, one of your friends was like, we were talking about horror movies one time. I was like, I can't even touch that stuff, blah, blah, blah. That stuff to me is not scary. It's just not.
So, Maxine is your favorite horror movie of the year.
Yeah, I would say probably.
What is second currently?
I thought it was Late Night with the Devil.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that's probably number one.
Oh,
yeah,
over Maxine.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
do.
upset.
I
of the
didn't know
century, I feel like.
you got to see that, Laurel.
No, I watched it at home.
She
Which
watched
I
it like a
wish
month
I
ago.
wish
Yeah.
I had seen it in theaters because I was doing so many things. I need to sit down. You can watch it with me. You can sit down. We need to have a Late Night with the Devil episode. Can we please have a Halloween episode?
Laurel wants to do that for Halloween where like
Yes.
You're-
You'll decorate.
you're
Yes.
the host,
Yes.
like Laurel's the little girl, I'm
Yes.
the guy in the skeleton costume, like
Well,
we
I mean,
all,
but we do a normal show, right? We're not going to act it out.
No, we're just going to have like a Halloween episode.
So this is one thing that is a consensus between me, Tyler, and Laurel, and that is that Late Night with the Devil is our favorite horror movie across the board this year.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
I honestly thought you weren't in
And
that camp.
I'm gonna be honest, I was shocked to find out that he is famous. Like that's been my biggest thing. Is I did not realize that he was so famous. Like the guy who is the main person.
David Dasmalchian.
Yes, and we were sitting there, and you were watching right before I watched it. We were watching Dark Knight, and you were like, "Oh, that's Late Night
There
with
he
the
is.
Devil."
Yeah.
So that's just what
He's
I
in
call
Dark
him.
Knight. He's in Blade Runner 2049, which I obviously love.
He's
He's
in
in Dune, which I
Oppenheimer.
obviously love. He's in
He's in
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, yeah.
He's in a million things. It's always very bit roles. But then,
But
now
what
he
I
has a starring
will
role.
leave on long legs is the theater was gasping at a lot of parts. There's one particular scene that I think was really, really well done. The scene where she's in the cabin and she goes outside and then you see him in the back. That is a really, really good scene.
Yeah.
I was not scared by Nicolas Cage, but I thought he did really well. And I really liked the girl. I can't remember the actress's name, but I know she's in It Follows.
Micah Monroe.
I thought she gave a really good performance. Like, she's so uncomfortably awkward that it really fit well.
Is it a movie you'd recommend people go to the theater to see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I need.
And to see it with someone, because I so badly want to ask this, but I don't want it to be a spoiler. I don't think it is. Are they related? Are they?
No, I don't think so.
See, I think they are.
Okay.
All right. Tyler?
What?
Let's not spoil it then because it's apparently not clear. Not that I know what happened
Do
in the
you
movie,
think
but-
that they're related? I thought that's her dad.
I didn't get that.
I didn't get that impression.
I thought
no.
it was. And I have read other people that have thought that.
But here's what I'd love to do. Let's have a conversation, and this isn't because it is going to spoil it for people. It's because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know anything about long legs, so I don't have any opinion on it at all. So I want to have this conversation because I want to hear the theory, because I would have to hear some tying connected stuff. So we'll get there. I know you've got your theory on long legs that you will share with me. We have a lot of you in the chat for sure, like Brian Pavlik saying, confession, I'm listening more than watching today's show. It is an entire different experience. Okay, well, we're happy that you're going on whatever trip you're going on there, Brian. We've got Joe in the chat that says Deadpool and Wolverine will not turn around or save the MCU. It is an anomaly, just my opinion. We were going to get into that here in mere moments. We have Nick saying, leave it to Rockstar to pick a movie you cannot watch anywhere.
Yep.
You know, that's pretty tough to do. It's pretty tough to do in this day and age. Yep. But it is, this is why physical media is important. If you love that movie, you better own it, because it's going to be your only way to see it in the future.
Whoever you one person,
Rockstar. Charles says, my review of Deadpool and Wolverine, I fell victim to the hype and expected too much. That said, it was the best time I've had in the movies in a while. So more of an experience there than maybe a film that he loves. And we have Jody that says Late Night with the Devil should be horror movie of the decade. I don't know if I'd go that far, and plus we're very early into the decade, so we're gonna have to wait and see. But I loved that movie.
Have you
for
seen
sure.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? I mean, come on.
Who's played by Arthur Clown?
Blood and Honey 2 is where it's at.
Hey, Todd, did you know that he's played by Arthur Clown? That's that guy he's
fun fact.
What did I say when you
Wait,
said
the
that
guy
this
that's
morning?
playing that plays Winnie the Pooh is Arthur
and
Clown
he plays
in
the
Terrifier?
Grinch too.
When she said that this morning, what was the first thing I said? I was like, Tyler loves that movie.
But Tyler is
All right,
going.
I'll be watching Terrifier this weekend.
Gonna have to catch up on
God.
Terrifier there. John, you could handle it. Watch it with us. It'll be great. I don't know why I sounded like Mickey Mouse.
If there's one movie that's a hell
when
no,
John
that's
does
it.
Natalie Portman from when he does the impression of her from those Star Wars movies, that's exactly how it sounds.
really?
Sounds. Yes.
Anakin, no.
Yeah,
You
there
don't
it
need to
is.
go this way.
Do it really quick.
Gee, Goof. You're going down a path I can't follow. We both sound like a
Mickey Mouse
in a
doing it, yeah.
microwave.
Yes, that's what it sounds
we
like.
Let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine from the House of the Mouse. It is destined to set the record for biggest R-rated opening at the box office. The movie has been tracking for a 160 to 170 million debut. Let's play a little hot or cold. Everybody get your paddles ready. I'm going to ask a yes or no question. You guys tell me whether you are hot or cold, as represented by either the warm or cool koozie that you choose to use. Are you hot or cold on Deadpool and Wolverine likely opening bigger than $200 million this weekend? Hot or cold? Everybody's hot on this opening big. Now, I believe there are some mixed reviews here in the studio. I really, really liked it, but for reasons that I'll get into here in just a second. Tyler, you were disappointed with it. You had your out of the theater reaction that said, hey, if you're looking for this to save the MCU, I got some bad news for you. Mm-hmm. And then John, you really, really liked it as well. I think we both gave it a 4.5. Laurel, where did you land on it?
I loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah, I did.
Do you have a rating out of 5?
I'll say 4.5 out of 5. Yeah.
I loved it, and the only reason, honestly, it didn't get a 5 would get into spoiler territory. So you can watch our review after the fact.
We will have a spoiler-filled review that will get into all the nitty-gritty.
But I don't necessarily disagree with the comment that Joe made that it will not turn around or save the MCU. It's an anomaly. However, that does not mean it isn't a very, very fun time at the movies.
So there's a lot.
But
of
I would have to
different-
get into spoiler
There's
territory.
a lot of
to
different
explain.
ways to look at this film and the importance of it. It is a very important film because you're taking the most successful film franchise of all time in the MCU, the most successful film property of all time. Nothing in its likes have been seen before. And you're trying to repair the goodwill that you once had with the audience in droves. And now it's got to put out an olive branch and make things right with the audience. And I think it does a fantastic job of that. It's very hyper aware of what its mission is.
I
And
think
it
it
delivers.
does. I think it does. But this movie, more so than saving the MCU, I think also had to really prove that the Fox merger was something. That there are a lot of things that they have gotten from this, from Fox, obviously. But this was like the swan song of Fox into Disney. Because obviously they had Deadpool before. They had X-Men with Logan, Wolverine. That is something that I think was done well. And you brought in the nostalgia from two franchises with both Deadpool and Wolverine / X-Men. That was already wildly successful. But there's a lot moving forward that I don't, it's not a bad thing. I just am very curious how things are approached moving forward. And I don't know that, I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but there's a few things that I have questions about in regards to the Fox Disney.
You know you're
aspect
going to
of
be
it.
able to have your therapy session where we get into all the nitty gritty here. It'll be on the channel. We're going to let people have the chance to see the movie first, come back to it.
But the movie itself, home run.
Okay. I think in the history of cinema, there's never been a movie that's targeted millennials more than this one does in all of our sensibilities. Now, Tyler, you're not a millennial. You're a Gen
No.
Zer. And my question to you is the hit rate of the comedy. I thought
It was low for me.
I thought it was about at an 85% clip of funny. Really, I thought it was hitting at a high mark of what was funny. Now there's some misses, and plus keeping it going, like it was joke after joke after joke. It's a difficult task. Comedies aren't made anymore for a reason, because we all have these phones, and what we do is we go right there for exactly what makes us laugh, and then the program is tailor-made to our sensibilities, where movies can't do that. It's the same for everybody that's sitting there in the theater. So what percentage was it at of funny for you? How many times did the jokes land?
Oh man, maybe 15% of the time, 10 to 15.
Wow.
There were a lot of moments where I was just groaning more than laughing, because it would just be flat joke, flat joke, flat joke.
Yeah.
I feel like the only movie this year I have actually caught myself like dying laughing was Bad Boys. And I think part of that is because the whole theater was very much getting into it. Therefore, you feel like you can laugh a little louder and you can get into it a little more and enjoy it a little more.
And honestly, before that, the first movie that we laughed at was like Barbie. Like, especially with like all the Kens with like
That
Ryan
probably
Gosling.
was
Like
the last
that
one
was
from
like
last year.
genuine like this is actually funny, not just like a haha.
American Fiction I laughed a lot at, but some of those I was like, am I supposed to be laughing at these?
What was your
But,
hit percentage in Deadpool and Wolverine?
Just saying. I would say it's probably about 90% in there.
even higher than me.
And the crowd loved it.
the
crowd was into it.
I never stopped enjoying it. Like I said, my half star I take off from it being a perfect experience is more what I have projected onto what the movie is. And that's not necessarily fair to the movie, but at the same time, for this to be the MCU savior, I'm not the only person I feel like that's projecting certain things on this movie of what I want from it or what I feel like should come from it. And once again, that gets into spoiler territory, but just from what this movie was and the humor this movie had and the storylines this movie had, it hardly ever missed.
Tyler, would you recommend anybody, what type of person should pass on going to see this movie?
If you just don't really, if you're not a super fan of the Deadpool movies, I would skip out on it, honestly.
I do think it
Because
very much helps to have seen all of those too, because you kind of
Not
very
just
much
Deadpool, the past 25 years of
you're gonna be
superhero
kinda
cinema.
lost
Yeah,
if
I mean,
you
at
haven't seen
least
it.
all the X-Men, so you could see Wolverine's story, overall story,
Yeah.
and obviously his
And Loki,
solo
honestly.
films. And I think Loki
Yeah.
does help seeing that as well. That it's not a direct tie-in, but it is.
Like, you
There
know
is
who the
there is a
TVA
lot
is
of it that
because
you don't
that.
have to
Yeah.
go in asking questions if you've seen that too. But that's a lot to ask for one person to go through if you haven't been so into it like we've been That's a lot
It's
to
an
ask
absurd
somebody
ask,
to go back
honestly.
and watch all that.
Charles in the chat says, I did feel like some scenes seemed a little off or rushed. Not sure how to describe it. Maybe that due to a writer's strike. Not sure. To me, a lot of scenes felt a little overindulgent and long-winded.
So many.
And I feel like there's a tighter version of this movie that exists that's a little bit better and has a little bit more cut to it, a little bit more of a attitude to it that benefits the pacing. But overall, if you're looking for a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, I can't think of what could be a better Deadpool and Wolverine movie than the Deadpool and Wolverine movie we got. It promises we're going to give you these two characters, and it over-delivers that you get these two characters.
Which made it even better to me because the overall Deadpool it's been fine.
Yeah.
But it's a 3.5 out of 5. Overall, X-Men has probably been there now. Logan, there's absolute highs like Logan. There's absolute lows like
New Mutants.
New Mutants,
God.
which you can leave New Mutants off your list if you're watching for this one. But like X-Men Origins, which kind of started the Deadpool Wolverine aspect because both Ryan Reynolds and him were in that. This over delivering was better with over delivering. I never felt like it was too much.
So I wrote this next question yesterday, but I'm going to ask again for you guys not to give maybe specific examples, but give your overall emotional feeling here. Logan director James Mangold says he dislikes multiverse movies, saying, quote, I think it's the enemy of storytelling, the death of storytelling. It's more interesting to people the way the Legos connect than the way the story works out in front of us. It's pretty harsh criticism of the multiverse. Are you hot or cold on Deadpool and Wolverine now cheapening the emotional impact of Logan?
In Fuego.
Okay, so Tyler is in fuego on it. He thinks that
Not just Logan, but the entirety of Wolverine's arc through Fox, honestly. I thought this was the worst version of Wolverine.
I don't think this was the best version of Wolverine. I do think that's Logan. But
spoiler alert
I think
for Luntz's list, not for
Sorry.
not for life.
I didn't say it's Hugh Jackman's best performance. I said it's the character's best performance.
Okay.
But
I can tell this one's got you like.
well, so like I don't think so. Now, once again, I feel like being the master of spoilers and knowing everything that was going to happen in the movie last night, which I batted 1,000 with, was. I mean, that shows how much was easily out there to see. It's. I knew what it was going in, and I didn't think it was going to cheapen it. And seeing it actually played out, which obviously I hadn't necessarily seen, I don't think it necessarily cheapened it. I see how people believe that, but this movie,
Tyler's in fuego on that.
this movie is what it is, and like Hugh Jackman being a part of it, and Daphne Keane being a part of it,
X-23.
which is not spoilers in the trailers.
Correct.
I think I agree with what he said. Let me say that. I agree with what he said that multiverses in general are making it too broad and ruining it. Because you didn't necessarily have the multiverse aspect in the Infinity Saga. You had some time traveling, but that was it. But I think the legacy of I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna end up spoiling something. But I don't think it was bad.
Now, I'm also tired of the multiverse just because I think it artificially raises the stakes to a point where it's just why do I care? I know they're going to win because everything upon everything is over if they don't win this battle. And even if they don't win, there's 1,000 other versions of the character that they'll just go to.
I mean, my whole thing is like it's entertainment, it's movies. I mean, like most of us are horror movie fans. Like how many times have I said this? Like they're gonna Michael Myers is gonna come back,
Right.
Chucky is gonna come back. Like all
But
of these.
fan is short for fanatical.
Yes,
And people are
and
very
I don't-
passionate about the things they care about.
And I think I know, and people. We actually had this conversation with these ladies that we met at the movie theater. I feel like people, when there's not a happy ending for something, or when you do just like outright kill someone. I mean, look at Game of Thrones. When you outright get rid of something, it does. It lessens the rewatchability. If you're being honest here, it does. It does.
Let me
John,
ask-
let
let
me
me ask this
help you
question.
with this. I think I can help you if you'll give me a chance.
Okay.
while you can't get into Deadpool and Wolverine in all of its glory yet, we will do a spoiler review. You can get into Logan. Tell me from the Logan perspective instead of the Deadpool and Wolverine perspective.
So, like, let me say this. Star Wars. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use a Star Wars example since everything's out in the open with Star Wars currently. Which, by the way, these ladies we met, I had an incredible Acolyte discussion with.
And they agreed with me about Kylo and Rey.
They love the Acolyte, way more than me. But episode 7 is my favorite. We did the Lunch's list of my favorite movies. Okay, episode 7, and then you get into the originals. To me, nothing about episode 9 ruined the originals or even episode 7 to me, because I remember going to see episode 7. I remember going to see episode 8. I remember going to see these movies. I remember the experience I had watching these movies. I remember my original opinion of these movies, and totally not landing the plane and crashing into the side of a mountain instead doesn't necessarily mean the plane ride up to that point wasn't pretty good. So I would say the same thing with Logan. Nothing that they could have done in this movie would have changed Logan. I watched Logan Wednesday before we went to refresh myself, because I actually had just watched the 2 Deadpool movies like a month ago. And I watched it and thought, damn, that's a good movie.
Do we all agree Logan's a 5 out of 5 movie?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all agree Logan is a 5 out of 5, and this is a 4.5 out of 5.
Literally nothing.
The comparisons will be there.
But literally nothing could have been done in this movie to change my opinion on Logan.
Yeah.
So, like, you can tarnish a legacy after the fact and not like what they did, but that doesn't change anything about what was before.
So some of the things visually...
I think they did fine in the movie. I'm just saying, I don't know that it necessarily would have ruined it if they had totally screwed it up.
I told Tyler this after the movie. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine has been around a long time. There's been a lot of different iterations of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Every single version of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine can be correlated to something probably in the comic books that somebody's a fan of. Everybody has their favorite version of Wolverine with Hugh Jackman playing the character. In this movie, I think you get the best looking Wolverine ever in certain shots.
It's
A
like
lot of people
fan
say that
service,
strictly.
yeah.
A lot of people say that strictly because of the costume he's wearing.
The costume, I think, delivers. Now, Tyler hated the costume choice, thought it cheapened the character.
So, not necessarily the yellow suit. I mean, I grew up on the X-Men Evolution cartoon. I'm used to that iconic yellow suit. Live action cowl, no go. I thought that looked awful.
And I thought it looked badass.
I thought it looked awful putting it on, and then it looked really cool.
Gosh, it looks good. So you're kind of splitting the middle.
There's a little CGI, and once again, I mean, hey, every time Deadpool talks, there's CGI with his eyes moving and all that kind of stuff, and so I get it. So I'm willing to look past it a little bit.
I do think and you mentioned this earlier, I think a lot of the disconnect for what you're going to see is this is a millennial movie. Like, I am now seeing very much, like, how much different, like, my humor is going to be from, like, a 20-year-old. Like, I just can see it. Ryan Reynolds and the people that don't... I've been watching Ryan Reynolds since he was on Two Guys Girl in a Pizza Place. They have made...
Old school.
They have made Deadpool... They have basically crafted this character around his personality.
Correct. They're one and the same.
Yeah. I have seen Van Wilder. I've seen Just Friends, The Proposal. This is how he acts. Like, this... And for people saying, like, I don't like this. This is cringy. That is him. Like, that is what he has always played. Like, this is nothing new. So if you don't like that, then you're not going to like this humor.
And there's one thing that happens in this movie, and I don't know that it's necessarily a spoiler, but with the music in this movie. The music in this movie is 1,000% geared towards our generation.
Yes.
It absolutely
Remember
is.
how everybody watched Guardians? And it had like that really cool older music, like the classic rock kind of music. And I feel like older people listen to it. And it's like, this is my jam, like this music. And that's what made the movie for a wide audience that we can still enjoy it, but even people older than us can enjoy it. This was straight up made for us when it comes to the music.
Straight up.
And there's so much from the very first second this movie
Gossip
starts
Girl, like,
that I'm sitting there like, this is for me. Like,
And-
this is for us.
And you know what? And this is the last thing I'll say
Without
because
getting
it's
into
going to tie into Taylor Swift. But I think that's why there was some disconnect on her last album, like why people like me liked it so much. She is a almost 35-year-old woman, and she did a lot of promotion for Deadpool yesterday. Like, she was posting about it, saying how much she loved the movie. I'm sure a lot of that was she's friends with them,
She's friends with all of them, yeah.
you know, I understood that was probably like a PR thing. But that is the disconnect, because you're seeing this like, this is cringy. Like, oh, the songs that she did on the Torture Poets department, like, this lyric's cringy. I didn't think it's cringy because that's how I think. Like, that is for me. It's because she's a 35 5-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Tyler, would you say your hype going into the movie was affected negatively by the marketing campaign? Because they made the effort of, we're going to be so protective of our story points and the cameos and everything that we can possibly protect narratively with this movie. We're going to create trailers that are unique to being a trailer, which is Deadpool and Wolverine telling people to silence their cell phones. That was a strategy. I, obviously, with my sensibilities, love that strategy because it shows you nothing about the film while getting you hyped for the film. You hated that with a passion. Did it affect your enjoyment going in to the film, in your opinion?
No, I wouldn't say so. They didn't play that trailer before the actual movie, which I appreciated. No, I wouldn't say so. It was just I don't think the humor was geared towards me, or maybe I don't want to say it, but like maybe I've like outgrown where I was when I was laughing hysterically at Deadpool 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Tyler has gone from a boy to a man with Deadpool and Wolverine. That is where we're at.
I don't know what it is.
He's going to start shaving this weekend. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go. Marvel boss Kevin Feige says Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Chris Evans' Captain America coming back to the MCU is not out of the question, saying, quote, I think Hugh's appearance and starring role in Deadpool and Wolverine is a great sign that it can be done if great care is taken. Are you hot or cold on a returning Robert Downey Jr. leading to a cheapening of the emotional impact of Avengers Endgame? Same question, different spin. In Fuego again?
Yes, I don't want to see him in another Marvel property.
John, this has been a tough category question.
I mean, once again, it all depends very much how it's done. Now, if it's a multiverse thing, and it's like a cameo for one reason that he gives Spider-Man a word of advice, then like I think that actually could be pretty cool.
Let me cut you off because you and I both know they're not backing up the Brinks truck for a cameo with Robert Downey Jr.
I know. I'm just
the rumor is that he's playing Doctor Strange, or not Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, a variant of Doctor Doom.
Could be possible.
Now that once again, if it's from a different universe, like could be done the right way to not necessarily cheapen what happened with the Iron Man that we know. It could very much be done the wrong way, which could cheapen it. And there's a lot of things they could do with just Robert Downey Jr.'s face appearing, period, be done the wrong way. Now, don't get me wrong. By holding up both of these, there's a 98% chance they screw it up. But
Even if the Russos are the one that are tasked
Even if the Russos, which I do hope that ultimately ends up happening. But that doesn't mean it can't be done right, because guess what? Those two Avengers movies, are very, very good and could be done,
Do you think these are some of the conversations that are happening with film fans with the MCU right now?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is where we're at. And that's why I think Deadpool and Wolverine is a wonderful experience currently. But 5 years from now, it's going to be like, why did they decide to do that at the time? Like, that doesn't make sense why they were so harsh on the Marvel. Marvel's great. Well, this may have been the thing that actually saved Marvel, or Marvel may not even have a pulse anymore by the time we get around
is very of
to
the
looking
moment.
at this. It's of the moment.
Because even watching the first two well after the fact, because I did not go see them in theaters because I thought this was going to be too violent for me. Like, there's a lot watching it that's like, oh, this probably was funny back when it came out in 2017 or whatever.
I think that's with any comedy, because even like The Hangover and Wedding Crashers, like you watch, like this would not fly nowadays. Like that's just kind of, I feel like that's comedy.
You're right. A lot of comedies feel tied to the era they were made.
Yeah, you can tell it. This is a very, like when you watch Wedding Crashers, like this is very 2005.
Blazing Saddles, right? That is of its era. There's a lot of comedies that are a part of its era, but a lot of the humor that's written is about the current state of the MCU that we're currently living in, and that's going to change positively or negatively.
I don't think a movie like this, for us that loved it, and for a movie that's very much made for us, I feel like that it's going to be any less for us. Now, as the MCU grows and brings in new people and all that, then yes, it will be hard to go back and say, I'm going to go watch through the MCU post, Infinity Saga to try to get into this 3 years from now when they're trying to wrap it all up or something. And then maybe it doesn't hold quite as much if you're trying to do it because you weren't of the moment when it happened. But I don't know that I'll ever watch this movie again, and I will 100% watch this movie multiple times, if I'll ever be like, oh, that doesn't really hit, because I remember hearing that joke. I remember being of the moment. This was the movie of 2024.
Yes.
That it'll continue to hit with me for a long time to come.
Let's move on.
While we're on the topic, though, I do want the MCU to kind of prune the multiverse into one timeline or just clean slate.
I think we're getting there
with Secret Wars because
Prune, get it?
I know I'm rocking the Dragon Ball Z shirt today. Even this is saying this is getting ridiculous.
Avengers versus Dragon Ball?
It wouldn't be out of the question at this point.
Multiverse, you can do whatever you want to.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out of the question.
Let's go to this one. Once again, we're going to have our full spoiler-filled review of Deadpool and Wolverine coming out. You'll be able to enjoy it.
It's like bubbling inside of me, ready to just like... bleh.
Yes, we will get to it. I promise you're going to be able to have your release with the Wolverine popcorn bucket. Okay, here we go. Here is the question. Mark Hamill will officially be voicing the Flying Dutchman in the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants.
Streetwater sour cream.
Oh, yikes.
Hold on, I haven't even got to the question. It's opening in theaters in 2025. Hamill says it's inspired silliness from start to finish. Are you hot or cold on seeing the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants in the theater?
I'll still see it in the theater, but they should have just gotten Brian Doyle Murray to take back to do the voice. It's iconic.
So you are selling this based on being a big fan of the SpongeBob property.
Yeah, I know Mark Hamill's a great voice actor. I always say he's one of the best Jokers, maybe the best Joker. But
Is he still Brian Doyle Murray still alive?
Yes, he is.
I don't know.
You know, he took over Chucky's voice for that one movie, and people hated that too.
I think he's a very good voiceover actor.
Is it Brad Dourif that plays?
Yeah, and he does it. And now his
Chucky?
daughter's on the show too.
Yeah.
He's a very good voiceover actor. Obviously, it's on the Joker for a long time as well, but I don't really care. I won't go see the movie in theaters.
I don't really care either. Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think the first movie was that the original SpongeBob movie was that bad. I don't know that. I think they've done multiple ones since, and I have not watched any of them since, and I don't really care because I'm not a child anymore.
All right. John will start shaving this weekend. Here we go. Lady Gaga says her singing in Joker 2 is unlike anything she's ever done before, saying, quote, "How do you take music and have it just be an extension of the dialogue as opposed to breaking into song for no conceivable reason? I'm a trained singer, right? But Harley would never know how to do any of that. So it's like removing the technicality of the whole thing, removing my perceived art form from it all, and completely being inside of who she is. Are you hot or cold on Joker 2 grossing more money than Gladiator 2?
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good one.
I do have to ask Tim. You're like the Batman expert here. Why is it that everyone plays one of these parts that's associated with Joker? Do they have to just go off the wall crazy? Like they're always after I'm done feeling I couldn't speak to my family for a week.
If you remember the original Joker marketing, Joaquin Phoenix kept telling every reporter, because they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, if you've gone off the rails, can you not sleep? Can you?" And he's like, "I'm fine. This was fun. I mean, I'm good. I know a lot of actors, they get into the characters and it consumes them. That wasn't the case for me. I just showed up and I did the work and I left and I went and did something
Joker
else."
Actors, but,
so with Joaquin, it's been very different.
And he even said, we listened to a podcast and he was like, "Yeah, this is very silly." He's like, "I don't know how to take this seriously." Yeah. But she kind of seems like she's going to be very method acting.
It does seem that way. So, are we hot or cold on it grossing more than Gladiator 2? I think you were...
I'll say hot.
Hot?
Yeah.
Hot? We're talking worldwide. Hot?
It's going to be close, though.
I think it could be close, but I would probably lean because Gladiator's been away.
I just feel like Gladiator's going to be big. It's got so many people
Both
in
of them
it.
billion-dollar movies?
Maybe.
Neither one.
No.
Neither one?
Neither.
I'm going to say maybe both.
No.
I'm going to say
Joker,
maybe
the
both.
highest rated R-rated movie of all time, highest
not-
grossing R-rated
first-
movie of all time.
The first one was lightning in a bottle. Not doing it again.
I do think the first one's lighting in a bottle. Now, I'm not saying they're going to make 100 and 150. I'm just saying it'll be, 7 to 600, which it still isn't going to be a profit for Gladiator as much as it costs, but...
Joker 2 has a better chance of being profitable. We all agree with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. But
Gladiator
that's not real
needs to
hard.
make
That's not
a
the question.
billion to be profitable.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Jordan Peele and his Monkey Paw Productions, they are set to produce a reboot of the hidden camera prank show Scare Tactics, which has been greenlit on USA Network. Are you hot or cold on the potential future of Jordan Peele's Scare Tactics TV show? Cold. Laurel, have you gotten to the point where you're selling your stock on Jordan Peele yet?
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, be honest.
I'm going to be honest. I think M. Night Shyamalan's better. I know people will disagree with me. I think when you look down in his career, M. Night Shyamalan didn't win the Oscar. He had Sixth Sense, but he didn't win it for it. But M. Night Shyamalan is consistently putting out work. Like, he is someone that finances his movie. I think now he's got a deal, so that he might not be doing that anymore, but he finances his own movies, uses the profit because they make such a large profit, and he uses that again. But he has a movie coming out every year.
Yeah. You
Like,
said M. Night won the Oscar, just to clarify. You mean Jordan?
I
did.
I'm saying M. Night
M.
didn't
Night did
win.
not,
He didn't
but
win the
Jordan-
Oscar,
okay.
so I'm saying you look back on that and say, hey, he didn't win. He was nominated, but he didn't win. But nominated for a bunch for Sixth Sense. But M. Night is consistently taking risks, even if people don't like it, which a lot of the time they don't, but they make money, and he puts out work every year. Like, you're seeing something from him. This year, he technically has 2 projects, if you want to look at it that way, with The Watchers,
with his
too.
daughter, yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know.
It is impressive how, you can find ways to praise M. Night Shyamalan in a...
I'm just saying that I think their style is very similar.
Yeah.
They start out strong and kind of,
There's a lot there that kind of goes together, I think.
But I think, hey, they did a Q&A together. They even talked about how they're both very similar. Like they did a, because I remember that M. Night Shyamalan said, I see sunken people. That was like
If they do a movie together, to them be the greatest thing of all time or the absolute worst thing of all
But
time.
I think it's interesting. I don't know why he's not like striking while the iron. Maybe he's just trying to find the right thing. I don't know.
Aren't prank TV shows really built to be clipped out and put on the internet? I mean,
Yes.
isn't that what
Yeah.
they are?
Yes.
So I don't understand the full appeal that they'd have with, I guess, who is it
Honestly, don't
again? USA Network. I don't know why they would necessarily want it. But anyway, we're moving
I
forward.
feel like they
gotta replace
they
Raw.
just simply just can't compete
Yeah.
with YouTubers. That I mean, even though prank
Or
YouTube's
TikTokers
kind
now,
of
honestly.
dead now,
Yeah.
but
it's going to be
I
tough.
mean,
I
you
agree
still
with
got
you.
TV budget to do.
Without Raw on USA, my TV will never go on USA.
Let's go with this one. Hulu has ordered 20 more episodes of The Kardashians, comprising of at least one more season. Are you hot or cold on The Kardashians TV show needing to finally come to an end? Hot or cold on it needing to finally
Oh.
come to an end?
Yes.
Hot on it coming to an end? Hot on it coming to an end?
I have not watched a single episode in I guess it's probably like 2 or 3 years now. I saw an update on TikTok today just because I was scrolling, and someone said this is the worst finale of a reality show I've ever seen. It's like they were just sitting around waiting to see like what their DNA said that was their actual age. Like that was the finale.
I'm just gonna. I'm not saying my wife is a liar, but I literally just went to Hulu.com to see what popped up. The Kardashians, and then down below,
I haven't
What
been
is-
watching.
latest watch Family Guy because I watch it every night. Food Stars because there's a new episode of that, and then the Kardashians.
I have not watched
happening
it.
right now. You don't out search histories on
I literally have not
streaming
watched
services.
it. Maybe you've
That
been
was
watching
wild.
it. How do you know about that?
That's the wildest thing I've ever seen you do on this stream.
She was complaining to Rockstar out in the lobby before we came in about
is
how
true.
it's like every night I'm watching Seinfeld and I watch Seinfeld over and over and over again, and then John comes up from poker or from playing video games and instantly flips it on Family Guy, and it's like I'm tired. Then I wake up, no, it's Family Guy again.
It is
So I'll
like
admit
that.
Family Guy's the first thing on there, and then Food Stars, which we're watching on Fox.
I
with
have not
Gordon Ramsay.
watched it. I'm being
and then the
serious.
Kardashians
I
is always
haven't.
right there.
Can you see if Impact is on there or whatever it's called? I mean, isn't that
it's
what
not
called?
on anything. We checked everything.
That's like TNA Impact. No, Instinct.
Instinct.
No.
Sorry.
I knew what you
I
meant.
thought you were
Stan.
wrestling.
I thought about TNA. I was like, I haven't been watching TNA either.
No, that's not what I'm asking about. Okay, next question. All right, here we go, guys. Everybody brace yourself. Director Roland Emmerich says the Independence Day 3 story is complete and that he's ready to go. Are you hot or cold on guaranteeing an Independence Day 3 can't possibly be worse than Independence Day 2?
Is Will Smith gonna? Are they gonna bring him back? Or no?
He won't.
I
He won't
assume
do
not.
it.
I don't
He
know if
won't
they.
do it.
It might be a multiverse. I don't
They
know.
wanted to bring him back for the second one. He didn't want to be there. So,
Things have changed.
John, there's no way
No way.
Independence Day 3 is worse than
It's
2,
awful.
right?
And I would hope
Even if it's straight to DVD.
things have, lessons have been learned.
Yeah.
To at least make some changes to make it slightly better than what Independence Day.
Independence Day 2 Resurgence, the sickest John has ever gotten on a movie trip.
Had nothing to do
us.
with the movie, but I can now say it had to do with the movie.
I've never seen John clench a steering wheel so tightly as what I
It's
saw.
not all I was clenching.
Oh. So I haven't seen
Today I'm on
Independence
this
Day
list,
2.
but-
Is it really that bad?
Yes, it's awful.
Yeah,
It's
Okay.
It's not very good.
I still think they could make a worse movie. It's possible. It's always
That is
possible.
always.
John, we've got
possible.
more hot or cold coming up here in just a second. But speaking of weight loss, our friends there at Way to Wellness, they'll loosen up all of everything that's going on for sure for you.
I don't know the transition here. There's Tim weighing in there, me weighing in with our friends at Way to Wellness. Go visit Leslie and her whole board certified team. Get that consultation, and you can get on a plan that works for you. Just like I have a plan that works for me, a plan that works for Tim, a plan that works for Jim Dunaway, a plan that works for my dad. Look how happy we are there as we have dropped the poundage. Go visit our friends at Way to Wellness. Go to aplanforme.com to learn more.
All right, back to Marvel here real quick. Marvel's The Fantastic Four cast is officially assembled for the first time. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn,
Eddie.
and Eben Moss Bacharach.
Just call him Cousin. That's his name in The Bear. That's
Cousin.
easier.
They have been huddled up together in a photo that's been floating around. Maybe you've seen it.
Cousin looks rough in it.
Quinn previously teased that, quote, there are aspects of the film that are very different to other Marvel films. The script is brilliant. It's really brilliant. I'm delighted to have this opportunity. The movie opens a little less than 1 year from now on July 25th, 2025. Are you hot or cold on the Fantastic Four being a better movie than Superman from James Gunn?
Oh my God, I can't hold this out fast enough.
Are you in fuego?
And Fuego.
All right, Tyler's the only one that's conflicted.
Tyler.
Talk to me, Tyler. You're holding out some hope that Superman is of quality.
Oh no, I think that's going to be garbage too.
Okay.
He's just Fantastic Four gonna be any good either.
I have sold all my stock in the MCU and I'm buying shorts.
Got it. Okay.
I will say that selfie, these are all very attractive people. That selfie did not do any of them justice.
So Cousin has a beard in The Bear. And I feel he was in that movie with Jennifer Lawrence, that No Hard Feelings movie. He had a beard in that one. And his beard is completely shaved off. Now, he's the Thing, so I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of either CGI things placed on him or just prosthetics placed on him to where he had to shave the beard.
I thought
He does
Eddie
not look
was
good
gonna
without a
have
beard.
hair, I'm going to be honest.
And Eddie's has a shaved head, and he has that long hair in Stranger Things. He's got some weird wig on in Gladiator. Yeah, it's not a good look.
I'm very
for him.
excited for the vintage look of this movie. I think I'm going to love that.
Did
That
y'all
is-
see?
The aesthetic.
Did y'all see the drone show outside of Comic-Con?
Yes.
I saw reporting about it, but I didn't watch it.
There's a Galactus in it of like it rising up because they've already cast Galactus. I can't remember. Is it Ralph Ineson? Is he dead? It's somebody that cast as Galactus already. It's some big name they've already cast as him, but their like promotion for heading into Comic-Con is Fantastic Four. I mean, they did some Deadpool last night, but they're like Fantastic Four is going to be one of the big things they push. And it's a really cool like drone thing of like Galactus rising over the Earth. Like the way they do it, I highly recommend going to Marvel's Twitter feed and looking at that. It's
cool.
really cool.
I just looked it up. It is confirmed that Ralph Ineson will play Galactus, his second MCU
right.
role after playing a Ravager in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Galactus is one of my favorite Marvel villains, so I'm looking forward to that.
As long as it's not just a big floating cloud like it was in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. The new Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max streaming bundle is now on sale, Tyler, in the U.S. Eligible new and existing subscribers can purchase the 3-platform bundle for $16.99 per month with ads and $29.99 a month without ads.
I thought it was
Wait,
gonna be the
how
new
much
one.
did you say was without ads?
$30 a month.
Oh.
What is
you
it?
get
What is it?
all
Hulu,
three.
Max, Disney Plus?
Hulu, Max, and Disney Plus. Are you hot or cold on the selling point of this specific bundle? Do you think it's a good value for the consumer?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you bought all three of them, it's like, what, that'd be $10 a month.
Is it a little much? Yes. Would you probably pay a little bit more for all three of them individually? Also, probably yes. So,
But isn't Hulu already sort of like linked in with Disney Plus anyway? So is it
I don't
really?
know
Yeah.
if you have to have a separate subscription
That's
for
what I
it or
don't
not.
realize. I don't know if you.
Not anymore.
So, like,
There's a Hulu tab on Disney Plus.
there is, but I didn't know if it opened up the Hulu app from there. Like, could you
I
have
know
watched
you
The
had to have
Bear when it
both
came
for
out?
it.
You know what? You may be right. I think I just logged in for the bundle, signed up for the bundle that existed.
See, I've had both of them the whole time anyway. But Max itself is, I still think, the best streaming service.
Max is
But
good.
then Disney, especially with Fox stuff now, they have all those movies coming over. There's some movie. It wasn't Saw, because I know you said, did you say like the first 6
Oh, yeah,
Saws
there's a
were on
bunch of
Disney
Saws
Plus?
Saws
there,
on
yeah.
there.
There was some other movie, so I went to go watch Logan, and whatever the first movie that was advertised was not a Disney movie.
It was a horror movie. What was
It was
it?
a hard R horror movie. It wasn't Saw, but it was something else like
See,
that.
like I understand
Like,
the Saw
Disney,
movies
you've
being
changed.
on the Hulu side of
Like
things.
My Bloody Valentine or
yeah,
something?
I don't remember what it was.
I understand the Saw
Tyler with
movies.
the My Bloody Valentine reference. Wow.
I don't know. I was just thinking the poster, like maybe he thought it would
I know
be
what you're about to
Saw.
say. Keep it on Hulu as opposed to Disney Plus. It's
Thank you.
all owned by Disney.
Yes.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do think merging the two kind of in a way is smart because you're trying to get people on both of them. But if you combine in Max, which has all of Discovery now too, like, I mean, I told you we were watching a Gordon Ramsay show on Hulu, like on Max. We are watching all kind of cooking shows on there, plus just what's on HBO to begin with Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Succession, all those shows.
Just like that.
More Sex in the City coming up. Like, I've watched every second. It's by far the best streaming service, but when you add all of Disney and now Fox in there, plus Hulu has all the live TV that you could potentially get too, that's how I watch Family Guy. I think it's overall worth it.
All right, we got a few more. We're going to go really, really, really quick. The Batman spin-off series centered on the Gotham PD and Arkham Asylum. They were both dropped after notes from HBO execs telling Matt Reeves that they had some advice for him. He said, quote, they were like, we like what you're doing, and we want to lean harder into the marquee characters. Are you hot or cold on the likelihood that the upcoming Penguin series will be as good or better than the 2022 Batman movie?
I think he'll be as good.
This is not saying it's going to be bad, but I did very much like the Batman, so I think it's going to be hard to pass it.
I have a lot of high hopes for this Penguin series because I was looking forward to both Arkham Asylum and the Gotham PD series that are now being folded into it. But I also really like the 2022 Batman.
And at the end of the day, you come for Batman.
We've agreed we're going to make this one of our series that we do a weekly episode review too.
Yes.
So we will be doing that there with the Penguin coming up here in September.
You go for Robert Pattinson.
Keanu Reeves got choked up when asked about The Matrix celebrating its 25th anniversary, saying, quote, it changed my life. And then over the years, it's changed so many other people's lives in really positive and great ways. As an artist, you hope for that when you get to do a film or tell a story. Are you hot or cold on the Matrix franchise being able to find its footing in future projects? Tyler's right on this, by the way.
In general, absolutely not. For me, yes.
You're a fan.
'cause I'm a massive fan of it.
But you know that...
So I will put this one in the front now. And
You
just
wanna
say,
talk
there's a little peek of John back here.
What is the best Matrix sequel? Is it the direct sequel?
I
don't know if they're...
I think the third one.
The third one is the best sequel?
Yeah.
I like the third one too.
It feels like a lot of people consider The Matrix to be this prolific piece of cinema, and then
It is.
they are very discouraged in talking about everything that's come after it.
You're either all in or all out on everything post the original movie, and I would say 80% of people are all out, and I'm in that minority. And I know I understand I'm in the minority, so it will not find its footing in terms of the general audience. But I even liked The Matrix Resurrections, not as good as the original trilogy, but I thought it worked.
This week, the NBA turned down Warner Brothers Discovery's bid to be a part of the next media rights package. Are you hot or cold on this indeed being the absolute final year of Inside the NBA with Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny, with them never to return to a studio set together to produce a show?
I think TNT's taking it to court.
They are going to try, but it's not going to go in their favor, I don't think.
I think if what they're saying is true, that they did make the same financial offer or whatever that Amazon did, because the NBA is saying no, Amazon made a much better offer, and TNT saying we matched the offer. I think the NBA sees the benefit of Thursday Night Football right now and what's coming with it, and just the general streamingness of the world, that they're saying the tech Amazon can provide is worth more, even though the money may be the same. And I don't know that'll hold up in court.
Inside Out 2 has surpassed Frozen 2 to stand as the highest grossing animated film in history. After 6 weeks of release, Inside Out 2 has generated over $600 million domestically and $860 million internationally, bringing its global tally to a staggering $1.46 billion. Frozen 2 collected a mighty $1.45 billion during its theatrical run in 2019. Are you hot or cold on Frozen 3 one day taking back the crown?
Can I be honest with y'all? I haven't seen a single Frozen movie.
You haven't seen a single Inside Out movie
If you
either.
get the bundle,
Yeah.
I would recommend seeing the two Frozen movies.
I think that Frozen is like another thing that's like a very popular of its time. Like it was, I love it. I like as an adult, like when I watched, I was like, I really liked it.
The time has
Especially-
passed?
I feel like I know if like for your daughter, like I love that she's been able to grow up with like Elsa and Anna, like because I think that's like such a great,
Even
like,
she's moving away from...
And I feel like this next one, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I think it's gonna have Elsa like being like with a guy. Like I think it's gonna be finding a husband.
It's all been about Anna, but she's kind of done that now.
Yeah, so I'm curious how that will go.
This thing's going to be a moneymaker, John. Is it going to be able to pass Inside Out 2?
Will it make $1 billion? Absolutely.
Yes.
Will it pass? I don't think so.
Okay. Because Inside Out 2 still raking in the money for sure.
Yeah.
Art the Clown is back to spread holiday cheer and fear in the first trailer for Terrifier 3, opening in theaters August 11th. Are you hot or cold on Christmas-themed horror movies?
I like it.
What's your favorite?
You couldn't have asked a question I held the hot up for.
What were you gonna say?
I'm just saying you couldn't have asked a question after you said the word Terrifier. Then I would have said hot.
I know.
Continue.
It's why I'm looking in
White
this
Christmas.
direction now.
White Christmas is
White
good?
Christmas, yeah, obviously looked at as
I prefer White Christmas,
Krampus. I
Krampus
really
was
liked-
fun.
I really liked Krampus.
That was okay.
I think
Actually,
there's
he
some.
was in it too. I think. I'm
Yes,
pretty
he
sure.
was. He was in Krampus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Say so, yeah.
I think there's some scary elements to Ernest Saves Christmas actually,
Oh yeah, Ernest
and I
Saves
thought it was pretty
Christmas.
good. But Tyler,
Would
you're not
not have
big
popped
on
in mind.
on holiday horror movies, huh?
No, I never saw the Thanksgiving one that came out
was
last
good?
year.
It was good.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
It was good. It was surprisingly
Patrick,
good. Dempsey.
Dempsey.
The Eli Roth Thanksgiving
Addison
movie was
Rae.
actually good.
Dreamy.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
I
Last
forgot Addison Rae
question.
was in it.
Last one. Timothy Chalamet plays Bob Dylan in the movie A Complete Unknown. The James Mangold directed biopic opens in theaters this December. Chalamet sings A Hard Rain's a Gonna Fall in the first trailer. Are you hot or cold on Timothy Chalamet being the best on-screen actor under 40 working today?
Under 40.
Male or both?
I will go both.
Yeah.
You may could change my mind if you throw a name out there, but I'm trying to think, and I would probably say hot though.
I'm right there with you, John. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head where
I mean,
say they
I
can
think
beat.
Austin Butler's up there.
I do want to tell y'all,
He's rising.
Glenn Powell is under 40. Is that correct? Glenn Powell's under 40? I
Yeah, I'm
gotta
still
check.
taking.
I don't know. Dark Knight Rises was a long time ago.
I'm still taking Chalamet.
I'm trying to think under 40.
Yeah, well, you're trying to compare
Glenn
Timothy
Powell
Chalamet.
is 35 years old.
You're trying to get me to compare Timothy Chalamet and Glenn Powell. I mean, I think we know where I'm going on
That
that.
was a joke.
I think Timothy Chalamet is really good. I hate to say this. I will be curious if he ends up with a Kardashian, if that's going to change, because he is still.
Oh gosh,
Full
this is
circle.
why we got to watch the series
I
now.
know.
I
right?
mean,
And that's
he's
where
never
it'll
owned-
all
I
go
would watch
wrong.
it if
That's
he
why
were
she
on.
has been
So
watching
who's
the
ahead
series.
of Timothy Chalamet right now in the power rankings of actors,
I'm thinking
actresses?
Look and actresses. Ooh. Honestly,
Under 40.
You know what? I'm gonna have to see how Gladiator does. I think Paul Mescal could be coming up there, but mainly because he is getting so much though. Like he is one. He's already got the Oscar nomination. I don't particularly care for him.
So John, you would take a Timothy Chalamet over a Zendaya right now?
Well, so there's two females that I was thinking.
I would take
Her
Pugh,
and
though.
Florence Pugh. That
Oh,
Yeah.
And I actually, what's Caitlyn from?
Kaylee
Kaylee
Spaney.
Spaney.
That's my girl.
She's not quite there yet.
That's my
She's
girl.
good. She's not quite there yet.
Actually,
for
I would
me.
take her over
So,
Timothy Chalamet. So,
Laurel,
yeah.
important note that you need to know: Tyler and I believe are going to see Alien Romulus
I've heard.
Friday
I've heard.
after a big event here that will soon be public. But we're going to go see it on a Friday.
That happens to coincide.
That
And
happens
you
to
got
coincide.
mad at me for spoilers.
Well, I'm trying not to. Just trying to be civil about everything. But we hope that maybe you and John can.
Y'all can tell me all
attend.
about it.
John's going to the movie.
Zendaya and Florence Pugh hardly ever miss.
Yeah.
And so Andrew Garfield's over 40, isn't he?
Andrew Garfield.
I believe he is.
This is a fun game to play.
What about Emma Stone? Is she over
Oh.
40?
No, she's.
Andrew Garfield is 40,
Oh wait, Emma Stone. Yeah, Emma Stone easily.
She under 40?
No.
I assume
but
she
her
is.
latest movie, even you guys would
Yeah, she's-
still.
I thought
Emma
she
Stone.
was.
Emma Stone
John
is-
said he was selling some of his Emma Stone
Yeah.
stock after that.
I think she's okay. I think she's like doing weird projects, but at the end of the day, she still has 2 Oscars.
Just for
under
me,
40.
I would rather go see a movie with any of the 3 people I named over a movie with Emma Stone in general.
Yeah.
That's not to say, once again, anything bad about Emma Stone, but
All right, that's going to do it for Hot or Cold as we'll continue to work through that. Maybe that'll be a fun list. 5 actors under 40 that John is the biggest fan of. We may get to that at some point very
top
soon
3
with
is.
Luntz's list. But John, I want you to now get ready. Get those claws out. The biggest movie of the year is officially opened up. Deadpool and Wolverine is set to claw away at the box office, but where does it rank in the list of greatest Wolverine adventures? Let's discuss some of the stars that are featured in here, like Hugh Jackman, and some of the best work that he's produced previously on Luntz's list.
What is this? What is this? Nonsense, this, nonsense, this, oh. What is this? What is this? Luns's list, oh. Luns's list of 5. Luns's list of 5. Luns's list of 5. Luns's list of 5.
Alrighty, John, if you were to look back at the near 25-year run that Hugh Jackman has had as Wolverine,
Long time.
what would be your list of those 5 best? Are you going performances or are you going movies?
Combination.
Okay, that's fine. I thought it would be. How'd you approach the list?
I've made very clear my opinions on certain X-Men movies, so that is obviously going to make this one of those lists that people go at. So I'll just say
What's it called again? What's the segment called?
Lunch's list.
That is correct.
I'm just
So we're here to
saying,
get Lunch's list.
People love to in the chat be like, "What? You forgot this one?" Which one is definitely going to be left out because I just have different opinions on the original trilogy, on the prequel trilogy,
Getting ready for X2
on
slander.
the overall Wolverine trilogy.
Okay.
Which would you consider this part of the Wolverine side of things, I guess, as opposed to the overall, like, I mean, because Origins, because I feel like Origins definitely has led into this because that's what got Ryan Reynolds first playing Deadpool. So I guess it's not a trilogy now because this would technically be the fourth
But he
one.
killed that version of Deadpool in like
but I'm just saying,
the first or second movie.
I kind of consider like Origins, the Wolverine, and Logan like kind of like a Wolverine separate, even though they don't directly follow each other because Origins is kind of its own thing. But that also fully led to Deadpool as well because if he had not done that, then Deadpool may not have happened.
Say again what you consider to be that trilogy.
X-Men Origins, Wolverine, The Wolverine, and Logan.
Yes.
They're not a linear trilogy.
But they're not they're scattershot.
But to separate them from like the original X-Men, X2, X3, then like the prequel.
If you were to try to tell somebody how to watch Wolverine's storyline in order, it would be very
hard. Very hard.
Because I don't know. I mean, you go a lot of different ways. Do you go theatrical release or do you go
it goes
the story and then do you do things that connect and don't connect and do you do retcons and it's
yeah.
There's a lot. So
there's a lot.
We're gonna get
do you even include The Last Stand?
Number 5 on the list.
Oh wow. Wow, John.
Yeah.
Oh man. I will say this recent movie did make me have a lot more respect for what this trilogy was trying to do. X1, X2, and X3.
Is
The
this
Last
the one that
Stand.
has like Halle Berry and all the people?
Yes, it is.
They
It's
brought
the
back
third
together?
one of that one.
It's the third one of that one. It's the Brett Ratner directed X-Men.
Has anyone heard from him lately? Just
because at that point,
Because Bryan Singer did the first two, right?
Bryan Singer was off filming Superman Returns, and
Should've stayed.
it also explains why you had in this Cyclops in such a limited role because James Marsden was also off shooting Superman Returns, and they had to figure out a way to close out Cyclops, and I think they did it in a very cheap way. I mean, the Cyclops death in X3, I feel like, is very much a complete waste of time based on where that arc was going in X1 and X2.
Floating glasses and
Oh
everything.
my god,
That was
that
bad.
awful.
I very much, I will not say like because I don't know that it has ever accurately been done on screen, and I don't really read the comics. But I've always been very much intrigued by the Phoenix character / characters, which of course was Jean Grey. Famke Janssen played her in the original movies. And I have already been on record by saying I like the third one. And all three of them are well behind the prequels in general. But the third one, my favorite of that. And I did like the arc, especially if this is with this being a very specific Wolverine list of Wolverine ultimately having to kill her at the end of The Last Stand. That, when I think Wolverine specifically, which I feel like when you say X-Men, that is the first person that comes to mind for a lot of people. This is the one that stands out for me, and it's got to make the list. I overall enjoyed it. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying about Cyclops. I didn't care for Cyclops in general. The character, I never cared for him in the original. I never cared for him in the prequels. With Ty Sheridan, I believe, played him in the prequels. And I was not a James Marsden fan, honestly, until Westworld, and then that kind of got me a little more on the James Marsden train. But yeah, I like The Last Stand, so sue me.
I'm not going to sue you for this. It is something I already knew about. I didn't know if it would make Lentz's list. The fact that it's at number 5 goes to show that even though you like that movie, there are better entries, including Wolverine, in your opinion. I hate that I know that X2 is now excluded from this list because I know you're a bigger fan of The Last Stand than X2. And that breaks my heart. I think X2 is one of the most underrated superhero movies ever made because nobody talks about it in the pantheon of greatest superhero movies ever.
Oh, yeah. X2 is great, but to John's credit here, it is a Wolverine list, and I do think you get a lot of really good moments with Wolverine and Professor X in The Last Stand, with them
I do
sort
think,
of taking up the mantle of, like,
yeah,
we got to protect the school.
This being this subject matter of the list, I feel like helps me have just a little bit more credence for including them on the list as opposed to anything else. But
yes,
I understand people
hopefully this is the last
still
stand
hate me
of
for
talking about The Last Stand. Let's move on to number 4 of Luntz's list. So, looking at the 5 best movies / performances, including Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, it is an amazing feat. I think it's a Guinness World Record of longest time having played one character.
The Wolverine.
The Wolverine. This is the one that is the Japanese
Japan.
version.
Mm-hmm. It is
of
the
Wolverine.
I
direct.
knew you were going to pick that
We
one.
went to go
I
see
knew
this
it.
after calling a high school event. Me and you went to go see this at the theater together.
I'll take your word for it.
We did.
I remember
It was
going
like
to
a
see it, but
matinee
I don't remember
after
like, the high school stuff.
It was like a 7-on-7, and then we went to go see this.
Yeah, at Hoover.
Yep.
Yeah. This
It was important to me.
I actually really like this movie. Obviously, X-Men Origins is one that flopped overall, and they had a whole like lineup. I know Magneto was the next one planned, and they were going to do all these like origin stories, and that ended up not working. And so, oh crap, we got to redo it. Well, this ended up being a direct sequel to The Last Stand because it's all about him fighting the demons of having to kill Jean Grey in The Last Stand. I like obviously Japanese culture. We've talked about that, and I like the addition of that to Wolverine, him kind of having the storyline, him saving the guy when they dropped the atomic bomb. I thought was kind of a cool storyline.
On paper, this should be your number 1 just based on it plays directly to your sensibilities. But for some reason, it wasn't a movie that you championed for years after the fact. Why did it not reach that level of perfection?
Every other movie on this list still, I'm not a big X-Men person, but you still have to take Logan as a member of the X-Men, and you have to have massive aspects of that in the movie. And I feel like Jean was the only kind of like X-Men aspect of this movie, like having Professor X as a part of Logan, having obviously all the X-Men movies with Deadpool and Wolverine, having other characters come in and be a part of that we've already seen just in the trailers. I think this was very much a just standalone movie for Wolverine, and I thought it was good, not great. The fight at the end, where he's fighting like the super samurai or whatever, a little cheesy from the CGI standpoint of it, that like technically it wasn't super, but it was good, not great. I don't know. I feel like it's one that kind of gets lost because everybody goes directly into
Lee
Logan.
Schreiber in this one?
See, Lee Schreiber's in Origins.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thing. They recast certain roles, like because they had a Sabretooth from the original X-Men, and then they recast it as Lee Schreiber. Wade Wilson was in it.
Which, by the way, the Sabretooth from the original X-Men is who played Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween's Tyler Mane.
Wow.
And
Oh, gosh.
Small
Yep.
world.
I'm just, that was another thing that had me excited going into Halloween 2007 was Tyler Mane. I really liked the Sabretooth character, and I was really excited for him, even though I think
His last name is Maine, and he played Sabretooth.
that
like
is
a
true.
Cat.
An undersized Michael is, in my opinion, the better version of Michael compared to a monstrous figure that looks like a Jason. But anyway, continue.
I think
While we're
like
talking about
normal
casting,
Michael.
I'm looking at the cast of The Wolverine. Our boy Hiroyuki Sanada, up
Yeah.
for an Emmy this year,
Yep.
plays Mariko's father
He's probably
in
going to win
this movie.
now that I put everything I own on Walton Goggins. Just to prove a point. I hate to hemorrhage my family's future, but I bet the mortgage on Walton Goggins winning an
Put the
Emmy.
house on the ghoul.
Put the house on the ghoul. So, John, it better happen.
Yeah.
Or else I hold you personally responsible. You'll have to bail me out.
This also was the start of Yukio, who has been in the Deadpool movies. So it introduced some people, but they're not people I ever really cared about before, other than obviously Logan and then Jean Grey kind of being in like dream sequences and stuff. I mean, very much part of the movie, but not like alive in the movie and the story. But I thought,
Let's move on to number 3. Some great cinematography in The Wolverine. If you just take certain shots out of the movie, some beautiful stuff.
He was too old to do it, but I feel like, and he played it on Broadway. I feel like Hugh Jackman like would be the perfect Gaston. He was too old.
He played Gaston.
Yes, like, and I feel like he did it on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I know he was too old probably to be with Emma Watson at that time.
Oh, you're talking about in the movie?
Like, I think he would have been good.
I mean, I'm not a big Chris Evans guy.
Luke Evans.
Luke Evans, not Chris Evans. That's Captain America. Luke Evans.
All right. Number 3, Days of Future Past. This should be higher. That's my only criticism.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, Luke Evans. I'm not a big Luke Evans person. He's in the Fast and the Furious franchise. He's the bad guy in the 6th one, and it's kind of floated. He's Jason Statham's brother, his birthday was yesterday, I believe.
I just thought that Hugh Jackman was a Gaston. That's all I was saying.
I think that actually probably would have been pretty good, other than there would have been a massive age gap. But I feel like there's probably an age gap between Luke Evans and Hermione anyway. But anyway, Days of Future Past. I very much enjoy Days of Future Past. It's my favorite of the prequels. To where,
yes,
it's
that lines up.
And I was confused when you put Last Stand. I forgot that Halle Berry's actually. But this is the one where she came back, right?
So it starts.
Yes.
It starts with
Okay.
all the old ones. They have to send Logan back in time to stop Mystique from killing
Was Rebecca May?
Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. What was his name in the movie? Oh my god!
It's like Barto. I don't know why. Barton? Or?
He makes the Sentinels. The Sentinels.
is
end up-
Rebecca May in it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's only Jennifer Lawrence.
These are almost like trivia questions because trying to piece together who's in every movie is quite tough.
It's just
Here's
hard.
the thing. Hey,
Trask is his name.
X-Men was the original movie that tried to introduce all these different characters and different versions and everything before Marvel did it. So they're coming in,
And I think they did
ready
it quite
to
well.
do that.
I think they did it quite
I don't
well.
think they did it bad. I don't know if I would say it was perfect, but I don't think they did it bad. But this one I thought was done well. I'm going to figure out Peter Trask. Bolivar Trask was his name.
Yes.
The whole storyline, she kills him. That ends up, Nixon, I believe it is, says, hey, we got to go to the Sentinel program. It ends up going crazy. They end up murdering everybody on Earth. So they send Logan back because he's the only one that can withstand it because of his healing abilities and everything. Is it Ellen Page that does it, I think?
yes.
Yes.
She plays
Yeah.
Kitty Pryde.
And Kitty
Yeah.
Pryde. I couldn't remember her name. His name. In the original
Is Jane
one.
Marie Jones in these movies?
No, that was First Class. She was the one that could turn to diamond
So
and all that.
technically, yes,
Well,
a
yeah,
part of the
I'm sorry to
movies,
say it,
but
sorry.
not in this one.
Not this specific
Okay.
one.
And we agree, I think, that First Class is the best. No, you said this is the best
this
of the
is the
prequels.
best.
First Class
First
better.
Class is second.
Wait, so First Class didn't make your list?
Well, there's a reason for that. I said in
oh
this,
yeah, Wolverine performance.
First Class cannot make my list.
I said no cameos, so that
So,
would
okay,
eliminate
yeah.
First
It
Class.
probably would have been fourth on the list if I could do that. I could not do cameos. Also couldn't do Apocalypse, which would not have made the list, but I did like. But he has an uncredited cameo in that. I did not dislike any of the prequels. Overall, I would give them all thumbs up. Now, Days of Future Past is my favorite. First Class is right below that. But this is all about Wolverine because it's about sending him back in time. So he goes back into his old body, which is the same body. That's the other thing. It's like it's the same body because he's been alive for 200 years. And I thought it was well done. I thought one of the cooler aspects of it was Magneto picking up RFK and bringing it around the White House and creating that barrier and everything. I thought it had a lot of really cool scenes in it. I thought the whole cast was really good, but obviously it's kind of a mix of Wolverine and full movie. And I really like Days of Future Past, and I thought it did do a good job with the whole time traveling back and forth and everything.
So I know the two movies that remain because we've talked about these two movies throughout the course of this show, and neither one of them have made the list so far. So I think we know what's going to be number 2, and I think we know what's going to be number 1. Can you go ahead and write out both of them?
Number 2, Deadpool and Wolverine. Number 1, Logan.
And since we can't do a ton of in-depth stuff about Wolverine's arc in Deadpool and Wolverine, we can do a lot about Logan, which ties in very much to this film. And it really, I guess the hot or cold question continues on here. Do these two films complement each other or not?
Trying to answer this without spoiling.
I know.
Yes. The why I'm not going to get into, but I do think ultimately yes. I
agree with you.
I think Logan is a very good movie. Obviously, we've talked about it being a 5-star movie. I think Patrick Stewart is a big part of what made Logan really good also. I thought he did a good job of playing that older guy with kind of, dementia and falling apart as he gets to be. He's like 97 or something in the movie. His like psychic like seizures that he has. I thought that whole aspect of things was well done. I thought the whole like building mutants because they've gotten rid of mutants aspect was kind of cool too. Obviously, you have a good and a bad Hugh Jackman in it as well. There's not really much that misses in that movie, and the story is done well, and it kind of paved the way. Maybe something did before that I'm not thinking of, but it kind of paved the way for the smaller scale big movies. I don't know how to describe it, but The Mandalorian is another example that I would use of like, they're both Western style, but like...
This is why Kevin Costner made Horizon. He saw those two movies, or that television series and movie, and
he
said,
should have had some superheroes or lightsabers.
Westerns are back.
If he'd had
Think he
superhero
was missing the
lightsaber.
secret sauce there.
Yeah.
And here's the secret sauce of this movie, Logan. And that is, how many people in your life do you know love Logan, but couldn't name one other X-Men movie they've seen?
Well, I think this is kind of like a dark...
There's 3 of them that work
Well,
over
This is
there.
kind of
There
like
you
a
go.
Dark Knight situation where I feel like this was like another movie that
Yes.
people were like, oh, this could be nominated for an Oscar. Like a lot of people thought like it was
Absolutely.
going to get like screenplay, director, like him being an actor. A lot of people were shocked that Dark Knight only got the Heath Ledger, and that was really only because he was deceased. But like people were shocked at
not
that.
true.
Don't start that argument.
That is not
Yeah,
true.
let's not
Laura.
get
that'll
into
become
that
a whole
today.
argument.
I'm saying he deserved it. I'm saying from the outside perspective,
Now, a lot of
that
people
is
do say
no.
that.
Okay. Sorry.
Am I a Heath Ledger defender?
You are Heath Ledger.
I
Okay.
love Heath Ledger. But I feel like this was one of those movies that started saying like, hey, kind of like the Get Out for being like, hey, a horror movie can get nominated. This is like, hey, we can nominate a superhero movie.
Yeah. Superhero movie that definitely feels like a modern day Western, and it's not nerdy to the point where it becomes uncool. And Days of Future Past is a nerdy movie.
Correct.
It is a movie where you have to understand timelines. You have to understand events and how they tie into comic books and where these characters and their motivations are. Logan is a stripped down, raw, visceral experience that delivers every time you watch it, that you can be nerdy as you want about it, or you can watch it one time and go, that's one of the best movies I've ever seen, and just constantly tell people that without ever having seen
And
another
like,
Wolverine movie.
Throughout the flopping around of the DCEU, the one thing I've constantly thought and said is that like what works for DC, the MCU did a very good job throughout the Infinity Saga of creating a massive story. But what DC does well is individual Batman stories. Not Superman lately, but the original, Superman run. They've done a good job with the very much individual stories. They don't have to make a giant universe just because Marvel's doing it. But I think this also shows that there's some benefit to even Marvel doing this. They're like DC Elseworlds or whatever they call what the Batman and Joker and all is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would kind of like to see Marvel keep doing your MCU, whatever, but I would like to see Marvel maybe pull some of those out and do some of those that are very much standalone things with different people playing it, different timelines, like Joker being older or whatever. I'd almost like to see something like that, and I think Logan is proof you can do that. Now, Logan very much takes place after the X-Men storyline. Professor X is a part of it and all that, but I feel like you could pull certain characters out, and man, that was a really good, solid movie about a character that I already know, or this is a different take on a character. I think there's ways to do that, and I think Logan's proof of that, but everything's so... We have to build a giant universe, and even DC is continuing to do that because it's like we have to do Superman right so that we could build a giant universe around it. Just make a good Superman movie. You could just do that. They don't want to do that because Marvel struck gold one time, and now everybody has to race towards the same, the same mountain to try to dig in, and guess what? The gold's already gone.
Yeah. And
Even for Marvel.
The money people love it because they go, it can be hit after hit after hit after hit. The problem is if you get too far ahead in your production schedule, next thing you know, you're like, oh gosh, what do we do? And Marvel actually, well, they had avoided that problem for a long time. After Endgame, they started running into that problem of getting too far ahead of themselves before figuring out what it is that they are to people. And this is a apology letter to a lot of people for the past 5 years of Marvel Entertainment. Some of it great, some of it not so great, some of it god-awful. And Deadpool and Wolverine is trying to recruit people back to the brand. And I think they do it very effectively. We're going to have our full spoiler-filled review that's going up on the channel here shortly. It's going to be a lot of fun to get into that. And, John, you'll finally be able to, get out all of your thoughts on this property.
Let me ask you this, because we were talking about this walking out of the theater last night. Where does this rank in everything post-Endgame to you?
So I enjoyed this way more than No Way Home.
Okay, because that was the one I was curious about.
I enjoyed this way more than No Way Home. So it's probably going to be the best movie I've seen in the MCU since Endgame. That's tied to the MCU in any way since Endgame. I know Tyler disappointed with this one. Was not disappointed, though, with No Way Home. You loved that movie. I wasn't disappointed with it. It just, to me, it was a nostalgia hit and nothing more. To this one felt like it had more weight to me.
There's 3 movies that have done what Deadpool, and this is what we talked about, have done what this movie did. And that's No Way Home, Doctor Strange, and even though it's very much Doctor Strange movie too, and then this one, that it's kind of like all 3 of those had their reasons for trying to be hits. I feel like Doctor Strange, people in the grand scheme of things maybe don't talk about. There's a lot of reasons to talk about it potentially, but
There's a saying that people talk about.
But Spider-Man is the one that, like, everybody has always loved the Spider-Man movies. These have all done really well, and I don't know if I would rank this ahead of that. In my letterbox, I sat there and went do right next to each other. I think I gave them both a 4.5, and I kept going back and forth. Which one do I ultimately want to put first? Depending on the day, I would switch one and the other one. But I was just curious how you would ultimately do it, because there have been some good movies within the MCU since Endgame. They just clearly are not batting the same average that they were before.
So here's going to be our philosophy on Deadpool and Wolverine, if everybody's cool with this. Today was a non-spoiler filled reaction and review. It makes it very difficult to talk about a movie where you can't get into certain plot details because you want to be able to save that experience for those that are attending and seeing it for the first time here on its opening weekend. Not everybody has a chance to see a movie on Thursday night. A lot of people see it over the weekend. We are going to give you the weekend to go see the movie. But starting next week...
You better go see it.
Starting next week, there's a chance that spoilers are going to be a part of our discussion next week for Deadpool and Wolverine. So we're giving everybody fair warning that, if you're going to continue to be a part of the Meltdown discussion, we'd love to have you. But today is your freebie day where we're not going to do anything to try to ruin the experience for you. But next week, we are going to start talking openly about Deadpool and Wolverine in a way that is satisfying for those that have watched the movie, and those that haven't watched the movie probably aren't really too worried about it anyway. So starting next week, we will get into all of that territory, but it will start with our spoiler-filled review, which you will find on the channel later this afternoon. We appreciate all of Meltdonia for being here to support the show today. A lot of you in the live chat today, a lot of you watching live, and we appreciate your support very much. Laurel Lunsford, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's always so much fun.
It's not a fun Friday without Laurel here in tow. Tyler, thank you for all of your dedication and work here to the Meltdown. As this movie isn't one that necessarily spoke to you, but it is one that is worth speaking about because it is the event of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be packed out audience.
I'd be doing every one of our subscribers a disservice by not going to see it and reviewing it. So
yes,
that is why I was there.
We will have that spoiler review going for you, and then John, you'll have the catharsis of being able to get it all out of your system, information you've held deep within for weeks now, maybe months. I don't know how long you've been researching this thing, but one thing that people should get excited about just as much as they are for Deadpool and Wolverine, that's our title sponsor, MyBookie.
Go to MyBookie.ag, promo code next round. You see it in the corner there, promo code next round. You can bet in the sports book. You can play in the casino, play in that live casino as well. Real dealers, real cards, real roulette wheels, all that fun stuff. Go to MyBookie.ag. Get a first deposit bonus on us with promo code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere.
Josh says, trying to get my wife to go to see it with me tonight, but she keeps complaining about being uncomfortable. It's like she's 8 months pregnant or something. Well, Josh, first of all, congratulations. Secondly, you're going to want to see it before the birth happens because, you need to get out there. You're not going to have a lot of time and a lot of sleep. Not a kid's movie. So go ahead and make that happen. But, Josh, definitely don't let this movie cause you a divorce. That is not something.
Here's what you do, Josh. go see it in one of the premium theaters, so that way you're in a leather recliner. You won't be uncomfortable.
There we go. Go to one of the comfy places for sure. That's going to do it here for the Meltdown. Thank you so much for making this another stellar week for us, as we'll have more live shows in the Meltdown starting next week, Monday, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. Hope everyone has a wonderful Deadpool and Wolverine type weekend.